Good morning. Hey, Michelle. The thing said it didn't share on Twitter. Would somebody share it out on Twitter, please? Please. Since we've had so much trouble with lack of notifications. Good morning. Hi, Angela. I watched your scope this morning. Hi, Catherine. It was totally awesome. Thank you, Tanya. I thought I would ask you guys to share on Twitter since we've had so many people say they're not getting notifications again. Thank you for sharing anyway. You guys are so great about that. And I appreciate it a lot. So, the hands down winner of the mascara competition, Blake. Oh, to followers too. Yeah, everybody can share to followers too. Thank you, Tanya. I never would have found this without you. And I have on, hi Erin, I have on the Too Faced mascara today for a couple hours, and it's, it already feels a little funky. And by the end of the day, the L'Oreal felt a little funky. Good morning, good morning. Thank you for the shares. No thank you to the trolls. Yeah, I asked people to share it. Thank you. I love these glasses so much better than the other ones. The other ones made me feel really ugly. And I was like, shit, I have to wear glasses every day. I don't want to wear ugly glasses. So anyway, you guys, Blink. Get you some. Thanks. Thank you. I like them a lot. They're also, like the other ones, I didn't like how they looked, and they were physically uncomfortable. These are actually really comfortable. Ooh, Foxy. Foxy. This is the black. Mascara Amplified Black. So there you go. I tried 3 mascaras in the last 3 days, and this is the winner. Hi, Amy. I saw somebody else pop in. Sorry if I missed your names. Good morning to you. Betty, hi. So, I'm working on... Hi, Kathy. I'm working on an essential oils for emotional growth and personal development and things like that. So if you want an invitation, that's coming up April 7th. I'm doing it with my sister, who's Katie 1010 on here, CATIE 1010. And it's April 7th. It's on Facebook. You don't have to go anywhere, and the post will be up for at least a week. So if you can't be available the night of April 7th, you can still benefit from it. So I've been asking people in that group to let me know what their emotional issues are, or things that they want to change, things that they want to, break through with personal growth stuff. So if you want to know more about essential oils and emotional health, let me know. This is Juniper Hoot. He's like, lady, you're choking me. He's so heavy. Hi, Ashley. So, I don't know if you guys have had the experience where a book falls down on your head. Here's my Groucho Marx. No? So, I used to go I'm a bibliophile, right? So total, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we're going to read that from Big Magic here in just a second. But, I went up in the attic today, and it takes a lot to get me to go up in the attic. It's creepy. I don't like the ladder. I always feel like I'm going to fall. But all my books were up there that I was contemplating giving away. So I thought of a book I wanted, and this book, and I went up to get it, which I never do. So, I really wanted that book. And it's not here. We're not talking about today. But this book fell on my head. No, not on my head. It fell, leaped out of the box and fell down the ladder onto the kitchen floor. So in case anybody needs this book, it is talking about fear and how it's called Art and Fear, an Artist's Survival Guide. And this, yeah, for real, it like the box, like I lost my balance and I was putting the box in and this book went ploop. This is not just for like pencil artists or painters. This is for anybody creating. And it goes right in line with this book that we're reading. So, super cool. When a book falls down, pick it up and flip it open, because here's what happens. We were talking about competition the other day, and we've talked a lot. Oh, see, it crunched its corner when it fell down the ladder. That's going to drive my OCD crazy. Anyway, we were talking about competition the other day. Look at this. Aww. Twinkies and Grandpa. And we were talking about approval, and this whole book is about just creating and not worrying about approval. Yeah, everyone say, "Oh, babies and grandpas," not dads. Yeah. So I flip it open to what? A chapter on competition. Thank you for the shares. So I'm going to read this to you, and then we're going to get to our big magic book. Because fear of disapproval and seeking approval is like two things that will crush your creativity right into the ground. And the only antidote that I know of is daily meditation or prayer, whatever suits you best. Oh, Angela, I love it. I'm so glad it's been helpful. So back to our few days ago conversation about competition. Let me read this to you real quick. This is a really great book. I actually haven't read it the whole way. Okay. Competition. There's no denying competition. It's hardwired into us. It's chemical. Good athletes bank on that surge of energy that arises in the instant of knowing they can overtake the runner just ahead. Good artists thrive on exhibit and publication deadlines, on working 20 hours straight to see that the pots are glazed and fired just so, on making their next work better than their last. The urge to compete provides a source of raw energy, and for that purpose, it can be exceptionally useful. In a healthy artistic environment, that energy is directed inward to fulfill one's own potential. So you compete against your last work. In a healthy artistic environment, artists are not in competition with each other. Same if you're on Periscope, same if you're doing your own writing, same if you are, coloring, raising children. There's no need to compete against anyone but your own work. Unfortunately, healthy artistic environments are about as common as unicorns. We live in a society that encourages competition at demonstrably vicious levels and sets a hard and accountable yardstick for judging who wins. It's easier to rate artists in terms of recognition they've received, like prizes and things like that, because you can easily compare that. That's easier than comparison in terms of the pieces they've made, which may be as different as apples and waltzes. When that happens, competition centers not on making work, but on collecting symbols of acceptance and approval. So we can prevent, first of all, when Periscope first started, it was said that the heart count was a measure of a Periscoper's value. Like the content that they offered could be measured by how many hearts they had. So you should listen to people with lots and lots of hearts and lots of followers, because for some reason that number, you could make an inference that their content was better, which is complete and utter garbage, right? It's not a popularity contest. It's offering what is in line with your life and what you feel the urge to offer. So it's the same thing with Twitter. When people start out on Twitter, they start running the business and using Facebook and social media, they can get pretty obsessed with followers. And Facebook gives you nice reports so that you can track how many followers you have, how many you've lost. And I've actually seen bloggers like having total meltdowns because they lost a few followers on Facebook that day. Come on now. So that is a real tragedy that we do to ourselves, and that is unhealthy competition. It's collecting symbols of acceptance and approval. If your goal for creation is to collect those external symbols, you will never ever be satisfied, because those external symbols provide a momentary flash of woohoo, and that fades really fast, and then you're always on the hunt for more symbols of acceptance and approval, rather than being on the hunt for better and fuller expressions of your creativity. Does that make sense? And it's easy to get lost in that. And it's easy to get lost in comparing your particular numbers or symbols of approval to other people's numbers and symbols of approval. When you compare your external symbols to other people's external symbols, again, devastation to your creative flow. It's just gone, because creativity can't live in that kind of environment. What comes out will begin to be distorted. It'll get salesy. It'll get weird, and people will know that. They'll know that you're out to get something from them, whether that's money or a like or a follow or a heart. People know when you're like, you have a hidden agenda of, I'm performing for you so that you'll reward me with external symbols. Fastest way to kill your business, fastest way to kill your creative expression, fastest way to kill your connection with the divine energy. Yes, collecting symbols is all judgment, all unhealthy competition. So taken to extremes, such competition slides into self-destructive comparison with the fortunes of others. W.C. Fields became enraged at the mere mention of Charlie Chaplin's name. Who knew? Milton suffered lifelong depression from ongoing self-comparison with Shakespeare. Salieri went a bit more insane each time he compared his music to Mozart's. And who among us would welcome that comparison? Fear that you're not getting your fair share of recognition leads to anger and bitterness. Fear that you're not as good as a fellow artist leads to depression. It leads to depression because you've given your mind a problem that there's absolutely no way to solve. And when your mind can't solve a problem, it sinks into depression because that's its function. And if it can't find a way out, if it can't find a way through, it will just drop, pull the shades, retreat within, turn into depression or addictions and things like that. So if you're aware that you are fearful that you're not getting your fair share of recognition through hearts or likes or follows or, arbitrary and reductionist and, that's all horrible stuff. It's fun if you're using it to like, well, I'm going to make an extra phone call today, or I'm going to send an extra email today to see if I can exceed my production from last month because I want to see if I can do it. And I want to offer things to the world. That's different than I'm going to make that extra phone call and that extra email and that extra push so I can beat so-and-so's count. Completely different. So I don't know why this fell down the ladder, but I thought it was interesting, and I thought it was interesting that I flipped it open to the chapter on competition. Partly I know why is because I still can slip into that myself, not with numbers and hearts and things like that, because they're so not an accurate count. When you look at heart counts, a lot of times you guys are leaving tons of hearts, but only a few stick. So already right there, that's not an accurate count of participation. Awards are not an account of value. For me, I get information about value in how it feels in myself. I get feedback from you guys that these things are helpful, but I would be here anyway. I'm so grateful that they're helpful, that we can co-create this kind of setting together. And I would still do them because I just have to. It just has to go somewhere. Might as well go out on Periscope. So, right in line with this. Do whatever you can to nurture your creativity. Don't get caught up in crushing your creativity with competition or fear that it's not gonna produce some external symbol of approval. So we were on the chapter of completion, like just getting things done is where we wrapped up last time. And this chapter is called In Praise of Crooked Houses. So I could sit down with you right now and go through each of my books page by page and tell you everything that's wrong with them. This would make for an incredibly boring afternoon for both of us, but I could do it. I could show you everything I elected not to fix, change, improve, or fuss over. I could show you every shortcut I took when I couldn't figure out how to more elegantly solve a complicated narrative puzzle. I could show you characters I killed off because I didn't know what else to do with them. I could show you gaps in logic and holes in research. I could show you all kinds of sticky tape and shoelaces holding those projects together. To save time, though, let me offer just one representative example. In my most recent novel, The Signature of All Things, which is a really good book, there is an unfortunately underdeveloped character. She is rather egregiously improbable, and her presence is little more than a convenience to the plot. I knew in my heart, even as I was writing her, that I didn't get this character quite right, but I couldn't figure out how to bring her to life better as I should have. I was hoping to get away with it. Sometimes you do get away with things. I was hoping nobody would notice. But then I gave the book to some of my early readers while the book was still in manuscript, and they all pointed out the problem with this character. I considered trying to fix it, but what it would have taken for me to go back and remedy that one character was too much effort for not enough reward. For one thing, fixing this character would have required adding an additional 50 or 70 pages to a manuscript that was already over 700 pages long. And at some point, you really have to show mercy to your readers and cut the thing off. I also felt it was too risky. To solve this problem of this character, I would have had to dismantle the entire novel and start over. It would be like a carpenter tearing down a finished house and starting over because he'd noticed at the very end that the foundation was off by a few inches. Sure, by the end of the second construction, the foundation might be straighter, but the charm of the original structure might have been destroyed while months of time had been wasted. I decided not to do it. In short, I'd worked on that novel tirelessly for 4 years and had given it a tremendous amount of effort, love, and faith, and basically, I liked it the way it was. Yes, there was some crookedness, but the walls were essentially strong, the roof held, and the windows functioned, and anyhow, I don't entirely mind. I don't entirely mind living in a crooked house. I grew up in a crooked house. They aren't such bad places. I felt that my novel was an interesting finished product, maybe even more interesting for its slightly wonky angles, so I let it go. And you know what happened when I released my admittedly imperfect book into the world? Not much. The earth stayed on its axis, rivers did not run backwards, birds didn't drop dead out of the air. I got some good reviews, some bad reviews, and some indifferent reviews. Some people loved The Signature of All Things, some people didn't. A plumber who came over one day to repair my kitchen sink noticed the book sitting on the table and said, "I can tell you right now, lady, that book ain't gonna sell. Not with that title." Some people wished the novel had been shorter, others wished it was longer. Some readers wished the story had more dogs in it and less masturbation. The main character does masturbate a lot. It's just, don't let that stop you from reading the book. Or maybe it'll make you want to read the book more. Who knows? I don't know. A few critics made note of that one underdeveloped character, but nobody seemed overly bothered by her. In conclusion, and this is true for every creative thing that you have and every offering you put in the world, a whole bunch of people had some opinions about my novel for a short time, then everybody moved on because people are busy and they have their own lives to think about. Okay? People may have some comments to make, and then they move on, and who cares? It's going to sting a little when you get disapproval, and you're going to be just fine anyway. I'd had a thrilling, intellectual, and emotional experience writing The Signature of All Things, and the merits of that creative adventure were mine to keep forever. Those 4 years of my life had been wonderfully well spent. When I finished that novel, it was not a perfect thing, but I still felt it was the best work I'd ever done, and I believed I was a far better writer than I'd been before I began it. I wouldn't trade a minute of that encounter for anything. But now that work was finished, and it was time for me to shift my attention to something new, something that would also someday be released as good enough. This is how I've always done it. This is how I will keep doing it as long as I'm able, because that is the anthem of my people. That is the song of the disciplined half-ass. The song of the disciplined half-ass. I love that. What could be better than that? That's a good song to sing. Good enough. It's a dicey existence when you work in child protection, which I did for way, way too long. And then I left and went back. And then I left and went back. And then I left, and now I will never go back. But the hardest concept for people to grasp is the concept of good enough. Is the child going to live? Is it eating? Is it clean? Is it going to school? It's good enough. Good enough parenting is hard for especially young, enthusiastic caseworkers to get, which can result in children going into foster care more often than they should. But it's the same concept. Is it good enough? Is it going to be okay? Is it life-shattering if something goes wrong? Is it life-endangering if someone hates your product? Or if you put a product out there, and by product I mean like anything, like essential oils or my design map workshops can be considered a product. People who put out like webinars and things, that's what I mean. Anything that you are making and then putting out in the world so other people can see it. A drawing, my artwork is a product. Is it going to kill you if people don't like it? It's not going to kill you. And the value you get over putting something out there that's just good enough means that you will go on and create more good enough. And occasionally in your stream of good enough creation, you get something outstanding. The best drawing I ever did, in my opinion, belongs to Karen Moldovan, and it's a drawing of her dog. I don't know why that one came out so spectacularly awesome, because I drew it from a crappy cell phone photo. But it did. And if I had let my comparison to that, like I feel okay with my artwork, but every now and then there's one that's just like totally comes together and it's outstanding, in my opinion. But if I let holding myself to always creating outstanding, I'd never draw again. I whipped out a drawing last night because I had an urge to draw all, free-handed from a cell phone picture. It's not great, but it's done, and it's good enough. It looks like a cat. It looks like the cat I meant to draw. Thank you. Yeah, every now and then. But you got to show up so that when everything comes together, you're there with the pencil in your hand. Or you're there with your hands on the keyboard. Oh, good. I'm glad. It wasn't planned or anything. I think it's fine. I've been trying to experiment with some looser stuff because my stuff is really realistic. So I've been trying to loosen up a little. Anyway, it's not the point. Yes. The same way with singing. Sometimes it's better than others. Sometimes these scopes are totally awesome and we all get jazzed up. Other times we're just like, we got some good information, but the extra whatever juju wasn't there. But we show up every day, and so that when inspiration's ready, it happens. Yeah, you got to show up every day with an attitude of curiosity, with an attitude that it's okay to just have a good enough day, to just get through the day without committing murder or, Grand Theft Auto. Sometimes is the best you can do. Yesterday I wanted to kick all the cats out. I wanted to pack their little bags in some kitty snacks and say, shoo shoo, whoever makes it back alive can still live here. They were such assholes yesterday. They were jerks all day to each other. And I just wanted them all to go away. I don't think that makes me a bad pet parent. I think it makes me a person. Just keeping the kids alive is good. Hi, Nina. Because I didn't kick them all out. I mean, I did let them go in the yard, but I didn't say, I hope you secretly get snatched up by a hawk. Yay, good. The extra sleep is wonderful, Nina. You probably really needed it. Yeah, and if we hide those parts of ourselves, then that becomes parts of our shadow that we have to undo later. It's really important to own your good days and to own your bad days and to own your jealousies and to own your unhealthy parts, your unskilled parts, because the more you own them and accept them and bring them into the fold, the less defensive you are when people accuse you of being what you already know that you can be, and you're already past the shame of having those parts. I have no idea where I'm going with this. Your inner jerk came out yesterday. That's because the dog peed on the carpet. That brings out everybody's inner jerk. Okay. So I also got this book down, which is a Marianne Williamson book, Course in Miracles stuff. Often when I'm reading this stuff, because we all have various reactions to the word God, because it's been so culturally, I don't even want to go into it. You know what I mean. Sometimes the word God is just obnoxious. So you can replace that with love or source or all it is, or as Martha Beck calls it, the great whatever. And I'm going to wrap it. It's been misused as a weapon. It's been misunderstood as a parent. That's my opinion. But anyway, I'm going to read this to you, and then I got to get out in the garden before it starts to rain again. I really don't like gardening. I think it's awful, but I really like the vegetables that come from it, so I do have to get my ass out there today. Oh, and then let me know about the emotional essential oil class if you want in on that. And then Desire Map Level 2 people, tonight's our last class, so remember 8 p.m. Central to call in. I am willing to endure the discomfort of self-discovery in order that I be healed. We should be roommates. We would balance each other out well, and we could sit around and complain. Yes. Yeah, 8 o'clock Eastern. I am willing to endure the discomfort of self-discovery in order that I be healed. The processes that you're all engaged in of uncovering the beliefs and the old stories and the unworthiness and the things that keep you confused and unhappy is a courageous process. It's uncomfortable. She says discomfort. I say hideous pain. Whatever it is, what you get at different stages, the more and more you lift off of yourself, the more and more you give yourself permission to create and to be authentic in the world, the more outstanding life gets, the more life reveals itself to you. And when I say life revealed, I mean like you're open to things that happen, like a book falling or a random phone call. You get finer abilities to recognize signs on your path that let you know you're on the right path. So being willing to endure the discomfort of self-discovery in order that you be healed is courageous, and I applaud you for it, all of us. I give all of us props for that. So as I ask love to heal my life, love shines a light on everything I need to look at. That's the painful part, right? I see things about myself that perhaps I'd rather not see. Like everyone, I have armor that has accumulated in the front of my heart, often masquerading as something else. I am willing to face the truth about myself in all the games I play, for I know that love goes with me, not to punish me, but to heal me. I am willing to endure the sharp pains of self-discovery in order to release the dull pain of unconsciousness that could otherwise last for the rest of my life. We are willing to experience the pins and needles feeling of waking up when we've been asleep for far too long. Just like when you sit on your leg and you stand up and it hurts so much when the blood flows back into your leg. It hurts your heart and it hurts your insides and it makes you feel squirmy in your gut when you are discovering the parts of yourself that have been asleep and the parts of yourself that are still not very skillful at relationships or job interviews or managing your budgets, whatever it is. So, Source, I surrender to you my fear and my resistance to finding out who I really am. I am willing to understand myself that I might serve life more. Please send angels to accompany me as I journey through the jungle of my fears to the meadows of peace beyond. I really love that line. As I journey through the jungle of my fears to the meadows of peace beyond, I'll add to that, know that you're not alone in the jungle. Everyone else is also clambering around in the jungle of their own fears. So you're never alone in the process. And if you feel alone, give yourself the gift of reaching out for help and saying, I'm lost in the jungle of my own fears, and I might need some help getting to the meadows of the peace beyond. Okay? Say that to yourself today. Ask for help. Ask for help navigating this painful process of seeing the shadow parts, the disowned parts, the parts that we just really don't like, and the parts that we're actually downright ashamed that we still carry. They're not going to go away until you look at them, and they're not going to heal until you embrace them and bring them in with 100% full acceptance and kindness. The same kindness that typically we would give to other people, it's time now to start giving to ourselves consistently, daily, every time. There's a person driving up the driveway. What's that about? Oh, I think it's the hot tub guy. The hot tub's being installed next door. Completely off topic. Okay, please be kind to yourself. Find something to create today. Find a yucky part of yourself and at least be willing to say hi to it and welcome it. And that's all I got. I gotta go plant some snap peas, some green beans, watermelons, zucchinis. No, but it's the guy next door. We have access to it. So, and then people coming to hang out this summer, that information's in the Perry Fan group. There'll be a hot tub. Thank you. Thanks for coming. And send me a message if you want in on that essential oil group. Or whatever the other thing. No, that was something else. Okay, I'm totally babbling now. I'm actually secretly trying to delay having to go out and plant things. I love you too. Talk to you later. Have a great day.